Welcome to FilmPod, where we break down films in the way anyone can enjoy. Whether you're new to movies or a seasoned fan, you're in the right place. Now let's get into it with our first review. And also, where are my manners? I'm so sorry. Guys, I have been having a decent week. So far. It's been going okay. Definitely got some new changes going on. Definitely a little bit sad. Lakers ain't in the best spot playoffs wise, but we had a good season. But everything's been going fine. Like, nothing to complain about. But it's been a good week for TV shows for me. I'm excited to talk about a couple of these things right now, but also I have a couple of things later, if you guys are staying on, that I think I would actually love to talk to you guys about. But just stay on for later, get ready, and let's get into it with our first little segment about Running Point Season 2. If you guys don't know about Running Point, this is a show on Netflix that premiered, I believe it was last year, and they came out with another season, Season 2, same year, which is awesome, like, by the way, very good timing. But this is a show, if you guys don't know, about kind of an exaggerated way of telling the Los Angeles Lakers story, but in a very more dramatic comedy way. And I actually really like it. This stars Kate Hudson, Drew Tarver, and Scott MacArthur. And I honestly really like this show. Season 1, the first episode, I was kind of like, oof, I don't know how this is going. And also, if you guys don't know, Jeannie Buss is also an executive producer, or she's just a producer on the show. If you guys don't know who that is, that's the owner, or used to be owner of the Lakers. She's pretty much in charge of the Lakers, and I believe Kate Hudson's character is based off of her, which I think is awesome. But if you guys don't know, this is just an exaggerated version of the Los Angeles Lakers story in another world where they're called the Los Angeles Waves instead. But the first season was pretty good. First episode had me a little shaky. I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to watch the rest of this, but then something happens where I want to see how it plays out. And obviously that was the hook that kept me on. But I was very impressed with how they were talking a couple of things involving basketball. And I was really loving the family dynamic that they were showing. Because if you guys don't know, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Buss family owned the Lakers. And the whole thing that the Lakers would sell is that they're a family-owned group. And not a lot of teams do that. Usually it's a big billionaire or somebody who's like a CEO of a company that buys a team, and then they own them, and they have a GM who helps out with this and that. But the Lakers had a family where it's like, oh, we're all going to help here, scouting department, we're going to help there, we're going to help with trades, we're going to help with money managing, stuff like that. So it was really like a family business, which is really cool. And that's what this show was kind of like. And I love the dynamic they have. I love Kate Hudson, Isla Gordon, who ends up becoming the general manager of the team because her brother gets into some stuff, and she just starts turning the team around. I think that's a really cool story. It got a little bit more unrealistic, obviously, with some of the basketball things. Like, this is an exaggerated show. It's not going to have exactly with like an exact way of how GMs and people own a team, but they're going to have fun with it, which I think is the point, and which is what got me back into the show. Season 2, because if you don't know, in Season 1 it ended with them losing in the first round of the playoffs and don't get to go on. But Season 2 continues that story where they're trying to get some redemption. And in the meanwhile, they do tell you a really good story about like the players on the team, and they give you a good idea of who they are and what they are. But the more impressive thing is just how they cover the work environment and how everybody works together to accomplish this goal. Sandy and Ness Gordon, played by Scott MacArthur and Drew Tarver, are two people who I really were impressed with in Season 2. Ness is one of my favorite characters besides Isla Gordon, because Isla Gordon obviously is my favorite. Like, she's funny. She's playing Jeannie Buss, and I like Jeannie Buss, so I'm not going to hate, except for that thing she did with Alex Caruso. But getting back to it, I love the sibling love that they show throughout the show. And I love Sandy's character along with Ness because they're just very funny, especially Ness. He's just out of control. And in this Season 2, like, they were crazy in Season 1. But Season 2, they get a little crazier. In a good way, though. Like, Ness steps up for the family in ways that I think were impressive. Because at first I thought he was just a goofball who didn't really know too much when it came to basketball, just like the older brother, which I'm forgetting now, but I believe the older brother's name was Cam Gordon. That's what it was, Cam. I don't know how I forgot, but I just love the family dynamic, and I love Ness. I love Sandy. I love Isla. Cam, I mean, obviously he's supposed to get on your nerves, but I love how there is that whole family dynamic that they're all going after each other. But season 2 really showed that they can be together and that they do have brains. Because in season 1, they showed a lot of them doing dumb stuff, which just drove me insane. But season 2, I just loved how they were together on a lot of things. Another bright star in this show that shined even more in season 2. She was very good in season 1. She was even better in season 2. I'm giving that to Ali Lee, who was played by Brenda Song. If you guys don't know who that is, it's Lyndon Tipton. Come on, you guys can't know who Lyndon Tipton is. Come on. Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. She kills it. I'm actually very happy that she is in this show because she's like one of the biggest basketball / Lakers fans. And I love how she's involved in this show. And I mean, you always see her in the post. You always see him out of the blue, just like finding her in the crowd. And like, I think they had her mic'd up a couple of times when she was shouting in the games and stuff, cheering for the Lakers. But I love how she's in this. And she is pretty much she's Isla Gordon's assistant. And she does a very good job at it. But she's also very funny. When her, Ness, and Sandy are in their own random craziness, it's unbelievably funny to me. Like, I know a lot of people probably aren't going to be identifying the same way with me on this show, but I find it very funny, like, with her and with the family and how they, like, what their chemistry is like. But in season 2, she was very good. There was a moment in the show where I was kind of weirded out, though, at the start, because they had her character leave to go to a different team, even though it did make sense for what she was doing. But I wish she kind of stayed with that team and then ended up coming back later to help with the Los Angeles Waves, because it just felt awkward that she was there for, I believe, 1 or 2 episodes, and then Isla comes in town, speaks with her, going like, "Hey, I miss you. I hope you were to come back." And I think it was just too quick for Ali to just be like, "Yeah, I'm leaving. Screw this team. I'm never coming back. Bye." I just wish it was longer, where, like, I know they did show scenes where they did miss each other, but I wish she could have maybe done something a little bit more dramatic in Toronto. That's the team that she went. And I wish she was a little bit more, like, scheming with it. Like, maybe that was the team they were competing with going into the finals or whatever, and maybe she could steal some secrets, or maybe there was some drama that she could take off of it. Because the reason why she went there is because the Toronto owner that they had there was a person that they characterized as, "Hey, I get what I want and I keep what I want whenever I want," and that's why he wins all these championships, yada yada yada. And I thought I would have liked it more if they could have taken him down some way, if they could have been able to figure out how he does his certain things and then maybe bring it back to the Waves. But there wasn't really anything like that. It was just a couple of jokes at Canada, which, I mean, I get. Dodgers, we joke around about them all the time. Go Dodgers. But I just wish there was a little bit more of a story there, because I thought it was cool the way they introduced the Toronto GM in, and I thought it would be a little bit more pivotal to the story. It just felt like it was a 2-episode, like, oh, she's over there, like, in her own spot, away from her friend Isla, and that was it. But I just wanted more from that story arc. There's a lot of characters that shine in this show, like Jackie Marino, played by Fabrizio Guido, I believe. Marcus, he's funny in this. I think he has way more moments in the show as well. But the person who I did not expect to get way more of the spotlight, because at first it was Travis who we had the spotlight on. Travis and Marcus a little bit in season 1. But Dyson, the character in the show, had way more of a turning point and way more of a serious role in this. Like, he goes from being the kid that Isla Gordon finds from the little G League that they have to becoming the next rising star of the Los Angeles Waves, which I thought was really cool. The way they had Travis, I still thought he was an interesting character. I think this fit for him, but I don't know. I think it was smart having Dyson be more of the person with this because I think I know in this story, like, there's not a lot of times like the rising star shines over the superstar that's already there, aka Marcus. But Marcus had his moments, especially towards the end of the show, which I thought was really cool. But Dyson, it was just really cool to see him have way more of a story. Hey, you brought me up in this league. I'm performing over my budget or my current pay. I need to get a raise, and I thought that part of the story was really good. But it was just very impressive that they continued that on with like talking about the way he plays, talking about a relationship he was in, and even speaking on his game and how he could change that. Because I know the whole thing in last season was he doesn't want to do granny shot, even though that's the only way he could shoot free throws. But I really like this character in this season, and I was honestly very hooked throughout. One thing I want to say about Jackie Marino's character, he kind of took a step back, and I was kind of shook by that. Like, he was a big part of season one, a very big part, because if you guys don't know, his character ends up, it gets revealed that he is the offspring of the owner of the Gordon. The Gordon. He's a Gordon. And that was the thing that kept me in the show. This season, he kind of took a step back, and he just had so many funny moments. And I know this kid. I know him because I don't know if he's a kid. I don't know how old he is, but I thought he was incredibly funny in the Iglesias show, or Mr. Iglesias. I thought he was unbelievably funny. So many of his one-liners that he had were incredibly like on point and just fit so well. And that was literally how it was in season one. He was just very funny out of the blue for no reason. And season two, he still does have those moments sometimes, but he's a little bit more established. He's obviously, I mean, he's always been cool both times, but I do think he did take a step back. But it probably was the right move. Probably was, because there's probably going to be more moments where he's going to be messing up, doing this, doing that, like he was in season one, especially in season three. But I still think what they did was right because they did shine a light more on Dyson. They did, obviously, Isla's the main character, so they gave us a good story with her. But the family and what they showed and how they were trying to accomplish their goal, winning a chip, I thought it was really cool. And I liked it. I liked what Netflix did. Spoilers though, the way the story ends, and even the thing they were doing with Jay, along with Lev, I was a little bit into it. I was kind of like there for, I'm cool with however you want to go, whether you're staying with Jay, whether you're going with Lev, whether you're marrying Lev, whatever. But it was fine. But I think the one thing that really gets to me, or really makes me excited for season three, is if you guys don't know, in this season, Cam Gordon, who was the original GM of the Los Angeles Waves, he had to go because he had a drug problem. Very bad drug problem. Middle of the season, he gets caught for embezzling $2 million or something like that from the team to do, I believe he was buying more drugs. But either way, everyone finds out about it, the whole family, and they kick him out of the organization. He is not allowed to work with the Los Angeles Waves anymore. And I thought that was interesting because I was low-key wondering if maybe he has a redemption arc, maybe he gets over his drug addiction, maybe him and Isla find a way to work together. No, they were button heads the whole time, so they obviously had to let him go. They obviously had to, because he was sabotaging the team. Craziest thing is now, they win the chip. This is literally the last 5 minutes of the show. They win the chip. Everything's going good. They have a couple issues they got to face going in next season. But then an announcement comes on the TV to end the season. And it's that there's two bad things. One, a new team in Los Angeles is being made. Owner is fully involved, and the owner chooses to have the GM be no other than Cam Gordon. Cam Gordon. And if that isn't already a shot to the heart, the coach of the team, who was also a part owner of the team, is Jay Brown. And I was just so taken aback because I'm like, why would you in my head, I'm thinking, why would you leave the Boston team you were coaching, where you just went to the finals, to go coach in Los Angeles? But obviously, it's for the drama. It's for the fact that he's trying to get back at Isla. Maybe he found out about certain things. I don't know, but I thought that was very funny, and I thought that I'm just wondering if that's probably the Los Angeles Flippers. I call them the Flippers. You guys know them as the Los Angeles Clippers, but they're probably the Flippers of the league, and I wonder if they're going to throw any jabs at them, because they throw a lot of jabs at Boston, which I love, me being a Laker fan and all, but I wonder if they're going to make them a respectable LA team, or if they're going to make it where they're just competing the same way with the Los Angeles Slaves, and I don't even know. I'm just so curious to see what they do for season 3, if they are getting a season 3, because once again, this is a Netflix show. Netflix, historically, factually, statistically, is always weird when they're trying to renew shows. So I don't even know if this could get a season 3. If it ends here, okay, end it on a good note. We won the chip, end it. But if they do get a season 3, I'm going to love to see the jokes that they throw, especially if it's going to be a lot of the Los Angeles Clippers jokes and everything. Even if they try to bash it a little bit more. I'm just curious to see how they play this off. If it's going to be two really good teams in Los Angeles fighting back and forth, or if it's really going to be, oh, this team is the best team in LA, that other team's trash, and just see what happens. But I'm so curious, and I just want to say I like this show. I liked it. Season 1, I gave it like a 6, 7, a little bit, like range, probably more on the high 6 area. But this season, I'm gonna go with a higher 7, maybe even an 8. I'm gonna go with a 7.8. I really liked it, and I would definitely binge this again. This is an easy watch. All of these episodes are like 24 minutes, maybe even 28 at most, and they're 10 episodes each, and they're easy to watch. Easy and simple. You don't have to know basketball to watch this show. You don't. It's very enjoyable just to even, like, they don't even explain that much basketball stuff. Like, they do explain certain things, but it's definitely not point to point. You can watch this and enjoy it, especially for the drama, especially if you want to see a girl boss doing girl boss things. But I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I highly recommend you watch it if you want to watch a drama, even a family drama, or even just a comedy that's just funny for no reason. I like it, and I would suggest to you guys. All right, what's good, guys? Let's get into our next segment. Star Wars Maul-Shadow Lord. I had to do it. I'm sorry. I had to go to the red. Guys, we just got the last 2 episodes of Season 1 of Star Wars Maul-Shadow Lord, and honestly, I was impressed. I was very impressed. These were probably the best 2 episodes of the whole show. The whole show was very good. Don't get me wrong. Episodes 1 through 8, very good. Very good. I was impressed. I was like I told you guys before, I was so curious on what the heck they were going to do with this whole Jedi Padawan thing, and then Maul being the person in the middle, kind of swaying the Padawan over, knowing that, hey, the old ways don't work. We got to do something new. But man, oh man, these last 2 episodes were elite. Guys, if you don't know it already, I was already talking about this show, not before Izzy, but I was already talking about it before in the last episode, or the last segment that we had on the podcast before, and I was already enjoying it. I was like, this looks very good. I love Star Wars The Clone Wars. I am so glad that they keep making more projects with this like type of animation style, which I love. But I was really going in on the fact that the fights look better, the motion looks way better, and it never bothered me in the past when it came to that. Like, it's hard to animate things. I know that. Anybody who is outside of the animation world should know that. It's not easy to make the right colors, make the right motion, everything. It takes time, and it takes patience, and it takes a really good eye. But this series here, and I love season 7 of Star Wars The Clone Wars, but this season of Star Wars Maul looked incredible. I love the lighting choices on certain things. I love the colors of the lightsaber, and I think the lightsaber looked a little different too, in a good way. Like, it in the old show, the lightsaber looked like a literal pointed sword in a way, where it wasn't flickering ever. The lightsaber was never flickering. This show, the lightsabers look insane with that little ripple that happens sometimes when they're just holding it, especially when they're fighting. It looks insane. But there were some really good fights through this show. I could name a bunch. It's probably all of them. They were so good. But these last 2 episodes of Star Wars Maul-Shadow Lord were definitely some of the best fights I've seen in a while in the Star Wars The Clone Wars franchise. Oh my gosh. In episode 9, if you guys don't know, this is them trying to escape off this planet. This is them finally having a way to get off, and all they need to do is get to the rendezvous point. Little do we know, the Inquisitors, which I think are some of the coolest Inquisitors I've seen ever, on their tail. And let me tell you, the fights look insane. The fights were so good. Obviously, they have the stormtroopers with them, but they roll up in the coolest way. I believe the Jedi Master, and I forgot his name, but the All-State guy, or Dennis Haysbert plays him. It's Master Iko Dio Daki. Right when, I love it. That's always my favorite thing in Star Wars, whenever a Jedi Master, or even like a Sith Lord, is just chilling out of the blue, and then they start to feel something. They're instantly like, something's coming, or I feel a darkness or a presence in the Force that's bad or good. And this probably had one of the coldest moments, because Master Iko, he's just chilling. They're trying to figure out a way to get over this acid like river to get to their rendezvous point, and instantly, you know it's bad if right when they feel the Force, there's sometimes when they feel something and they'll just look over and they'll be like, okay, I sense something bad. But him, right when you see him turn on the lightsaber, you know it's bad. You know it's bad. So instantly he says, someone's coming. And I went, oh, so what is it? Then when he turns on his lightsaber, I was like, okay, this is very bad. Like something really bad is coming. Something really bad. And let me tell you, the way the Inquisitors rolled up to him, running like Naruto ninjas, with their lightsabers drawn, was the sickest looking image I've seen in a while. I was I was shook. I was actually scared. And the fights that took place, bro, the choreography, the way certain things were moving, the way they were moving, I was like, this is nuts. This is Star Wars right here. Instantly, we get a sad moment where this one droid who was part of Darth Maul's crew, or Shadow Lord Maul, I don't know what they call him, Lord Maul, when that droid gets hit by the Inquisitor's lightsaber and dies, I go, dang, I really like that droid. I thought that droid was funny. There were so many times he was roasting the people that weren't part of the crew, and I was like, this is unbelievably funny, man. I need this droid to live. And then when that droid died, I was like, all right, or got deactivated, destroyed, whatever you want to call it. I was like, that sucks. I wanted to see him in more future seasons, but whatever, it's cool. It's all right, because it's all about Maul. It's a show about Maul, man. I'm good. But the scene that took me out, that I did not expect, that scared the crap out of me, was the scene where you're thinking, okay, all they got to do is get through these woods, hide for a second, wait for the ship to come down, and you're good. But all of a sudden, one of Maul's crewmates says, we're going to scout ahead to survey. But even before that, the Inquisitors said, wait here. He's there. In my mind, I'm thinking, maybe Palpatine is down there. Maybe Lord Sidious is down there. Maybe he just came all the way to try to kill Maul his own self. So all of a sudden, you hear lightsabers. You hear a lightsaber go off. You hear people grunting, that little Star Wars scream that we heard over and over again, and you're thinking, oh man, here we go. And then even Maul, when she gets dragged back into the little fog and obviously dies, you're like, okay, who is it pulling up? Guys, the way I freaked out was not okay. It was not okay. Right when I heard and you guys already know what I'm talking about. Right when you hear I can't do it, I'm sorry. But anyways, Darth Vader pulls up in the coldest way possible. And instantly, everybody, lightsabers go on. Everybody just staring at him. And I think this is the first time we see Darth Vader like actually engage some people, because at the end of Star Wars The Clone Wars season 7 we see Darth Vader, but he's not engaging anybody. He's just at a burial for these clone troopers and Ahsoka's lightsaber to end the series, which I love. That is probably one of my favorite shots of the whole series. That made me incredibly sad, but also very like fulfilled. But this was different. This was unbelievably scary. This was unbelievably crazy cool. And the shot you get of him, because let me remind you, there's no blue on him. It's just gray fog. And then right when he turns his lightsaber on with that red lightsaber, and it just changes from gray to red. Unbelievable way to end an episode, and very cool shot. And that's how the episode ends for episode 9. Let's get to episode 10. I love Anakin Skywalker, bro. I love him. I love his fights. I love his fighting style. I love the way he was in Star Wars Clone Wars. Darth Vader in Star Wars Maul-Shadow Lord is a menace to society. He needs to be locked up in solitary confinement in the bottoms of the Earth's core. Because my goodness, you know how bad I feel if I was a Jedi and I'm having a struggle with a dude who is holding his lightsaber with one hand and barely having any motion, while he's using his other hand to push off any other lightsabers coming at me. Like I'm over here with my homie going like, all right, you go left, I go right. Boom, ha, all right, he's paying attention to my lights. What? What do you mean he stopped man, we screwed. That is exactly how that was going. He had Darth Maul, he had Master Eco, and he had Devin. All three of them going at him. And he's over here with one, like, stinking Michael Myers. Just all over the place. That was so insane. And then, apparently he was just chilling. He's barely even trying. He's not even trying when he's fighting them. All of a sudden, when one of them hits him, or one of them, like, pierces something, because I think one of them pierced his armor. All of a sudden, he's giving his lightsaber and just, And you can just see the strength in all those swings, man. It's just, he's so slow. I don't know how he's doing it, but maybe he just slows all the other lightsabers down. It's insane. But you can tell. Darth Maul is scared. Eco's scared. Devin's scared. Devin Loki is just angry. She's just angry going at him. But every single time Devin took a swing at him or something, I was like, get out of there. Let your master handle them. Darth Vader ain't yours. Trust me. You ain't got him. Handle those Inquisitors that you were barely holding up. Darth Vader, you need to leave him to the master. You need to. You can't fight him. And man, just over and over again. That episode 10 was just full of so many fights in so many good places, in so many awesome, cool ways that people were coming up with to fight. Darth Maul had some really good moments too. Like, I obviously know, if you guys have watched the movies, spoiler alert, Darth Maul and Darth Vader don't die. None of them do. But it was just so cool to see Darth Vader fight in Clone Wars. It was just in Clone Wars animation. Like, I know that's Anakin. I'm going to miss my boy forever. But, dang. A part of me was kind of rooting for him. A part of me. But at the same time, I'm rooting for these characters that I learned about or start to love. Because I was talking about in the last episode. I love Maul. I think he's a cool character now. But then I'm rooting for Eco and Devin, and I'm like, I just need y'all to live. But man, right when you get to the part when it's Master Eco versus Darth Vader, you already know. You're not going to win this one-on-one, dude. You're not. You're just another Jedi. I love you, man. But this is Darth Vader's job, and if they got to call him in, you know it's a done deal. Master Eco gets struck by Darth Vader, Anakin's lightsaber, and dies. And this angers Devin, and we get some of the sickest. Like, I feel like if anything, Darth Maul is like an Anakin, and now Devin is the Ahsoka Tano to him, but in a very dark way. And right when Darth Maul gives her his lightsaber, I know we're about to get some really cool images of them fighting. They get into this little like tunnel cathedral type of thing. It's very dark, and I love whenever there's fights in the dark because the lightsabers look so much better. But They were doing flips, they were doing tricks, they were going at this Inquisitor, and it was just such a cool sequence. And another character, there was just hella characters dying, man. Uh, Wagner Moore's character, Brander Lawson. I mean, actually, I can't say he did that, but I think he's died because he took a whole bunch of lasers to his body. He runs after the stormtroopers though when he's getting shot at, but he goes into the gray, into the fog, and that's it. So I can't say he did die, but I'm pretty much thinking he died. Like, there's no way he took so many shots here, like all over his torso. There's no way he lived from that, especially from lasers. But if he did die, that was another character I was really liking, especially with his whole son, like him trying to get closer to his son, like being cool. Like, I just hate how the father figures died. I hate it. But it was a good choice because now I feel bad. But, man, what a way to end the season, man, with stinking Darth Vader going after you. There was a point when they actually did get on the ship where I thought Darth Vader was going to pull them down with the Force. But knowing him, he knows where they're going. It's Anakin Skywalker, the chosen one. He knows where they're going. He's going to find them. He may not kill Maul, but he's going to find them. But that was such a sick scene. I know everybody talks about, like, in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, that fight between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader in live action, one of the best fights of all time in Star Wars. I am iffy on it. I think it looks incredible. I was just iffy about it sometimes. But this fight with just Darth Vader fighting everybody, I love. This is definitely up there for me as like a top 5. I got to rewatch a whole bunch of lightsaber fights. Maybe a top 5 fight. There were a lot of them in the prequels that I think are above them. Like, I love the Anakin and Kenobi versus Count Dooku fight. I think that one's really cool. I really like the fight between, obviously, Luke and Darth Vader in Return of the Jedi, but I think this one could definitely go up there. But it's cheating because it's animation, and I mean, a lot of the fights in Star Wars: The Clone Wars are goated, a lot of them. But this show was really good. It was really good. Overall, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. It's probably going to be like an 8.5, but it's 8 out of 10. But I was really impressed with it. I was really impressed. I, once again, wasn't too into Darth Maul, but there were a lot of cold shots with him in it. There were a lot of really cool moments. I learned more about him, even though I knew he, like, if I watched Star Wars Clone Wars, you could pretty much knew more about him, like why he's going after the Empire, why he doesn't like him, especially because of Darth Sidious. But like the abuse he had to face when he was learning under Darth Sidious, it sucks. It really does. Like, it just sucks. But I like him more. I like him more. And I also like these other characters. Like, Devin's still alive. And I can't wait to see how she turns out, if there is going to be a season 2. But, and also Two Boots is still there. But I still don't know how to feel about Two Boots. He's a droid who was the partner to Wagner Moore's character. But I'm not too sure how to feel about him still. I was okay with him. I was way more of a fan of the droid that was part of Darth Maul's group. But I'm excited to see what they do in a season 2. If it's really just them running from planet to planet, getting away from the Empire, or also to even try to kill Darth Sidious, I would love to watch that. But then again, I'm just cool with this one season because we already know how things work. We saw Star Wars Rebels. We know Darth Maul's fate, which still gets questionable to me because I thought Kenobi killed him in Phantom of the Menace, but then there was Star Wars Rebels, and then there was Star Wars: The Clone Wars, so I don't know. I'm just going with it. But I'm just so glad, once again, we're getting more content, part of this Star Wars: The Clone Wars, like, animation, a part of this, like, world in a bit, and if we do get a season 2, I'm obviously watching it, but if we don't, I'm still satisfied. But I highly recommend you guys watch this if you guys are Star Wars: The Clone Wars fans, especially Phantom of the Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, Star Wars fans. Like, this, I believe, follows right after that, like, especially after Order 66, especially after the Empire takes over. And definitely you guys are Star Wars: The Clone Wars fans. Like, this is just, it's awesome. It was good. And I would just want to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Michael B. Jordan is in this movie, Swapped, and it's a Netflix movie if you guys don't know. Netflix animated movie. And he actually isn't himself in this. He actually gets swapped into a little chipmunk. I'm going to call it chipmunk, but actually the little animal was called a puku, I believe. A puku. Either way, this movie is an animated feature on Netflix that really impressed me. It really impressed me. I was very surprised on how deep this movie got in certain points and how the animation was. Like, it was very impressive. But if you guys don't know, both Michael B. Jordan and I believe it was Juno Temple star in this movie. Michael B. Jordan as the voice of Ollie and Juno Temple as the voice of Ivy. And they are two different animals who end up getting swapped for their different characteristics. I forgot the name. I'm just going to go Ivy is a bird. Ollie is a chipmunk. And they both get swapped. And it ends up where they're different type of animal creatures. And it was impressive how they did tell the story because it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. Like, I thought it was going to be how other animated or other movies do, where both of these characters know each other prior, and both of these characters end up in a little pickle where they either both collide and fall onto something or both collide, like a Freaky Friday type of thing. But, I mean, even though it was kind of like that, this movie took its time to explain it, and I love that. I believe this movie is 2 hours. It's an hour and 42 minutes, which isn't bad. But it does a good job on telling you both of these different characters' perspectives, what they're like, what the food chain is like for them, who's higher up, who's lower, and also it does a good job of explaining the power of friendship. I'm playing more like friendship and trust. Ollie is the main character in this, played by Michael B. Jordan, and he is a little chipmunk who accidentally messes with the food chain. So his family and all of these chipmunks in this pack believe that they need to stay away from everything. They need to stop going out doing this. They need to stay in their little bubble and prioritize their food, everything. Ollie is a little different. Ollie is a character that is very curious, very funny, by the way. And I love that Michael B. Jordan was the voice actor for him. And very creative. There was a really cool scene that actually shocked the heck out of me. Like, already when the movie starts, I was very impressed with the animation. Like the leaves, the grass, the little details in the certain animals, I was very impressed with. But the very next scene where Michael B. Jordan is explaining like how his life pretty much got ruined and is telling his like origin or background was unbelievable. So basically, Ollie is curious. Ollie is always in wonder of different things. And so Ollie is very inventive. He crafts a lot of these different things, different mechanisms to help with his group. And the first thing he starts crafting is like scuba gear to go swimming. And I thought it was super funny when he kept trying to figure out how to breathe and also be underwater. And I love the whole sequence. But when he finally figures it out, there was a really cool sequence that plays in the water that I was just so impressed with. It was almost like watching Finding Nemo, or I don't want to put it up there because it doesn't look as good as Avatar: The Way of Water, but almost like that. And it was just a really nice scene with him going through the little ocean water, or into the sea, and just looking at all these different awesome looking creatures. Like, there were so many times he would touch something and that would appear. He would look at something and he'd just wonder, and it was just really cool to see that. Obviously, at a moment, something tries to bite him or eat him, and his father takes him out and explains to him, we don't go out, like, everything outside of our area is dangerous. But I just thought that was really cool. Like, that was a very good way to open us up to this character, Ollie. And go further on, and you get introduced to Ivy a little bit down a ways, like a way down a ways. I want to say when we're 20, maybe 15 minutes into the movie. And we start learning about her, how she's a bird who's trying to take care of her family and just do the best she can with them. But before that happens too, Ollie's character ends up, and once again, this is 15 minutes in the movie, ends up accidentally falling on something that swaps his animal trait into the bird, and ends up running into Ivy later because his whole group cast him out, and Ivy, believing that he's an actual bird and not finding, well, I mean, she found stuff strange with him, but finding some certain things strange with him, takes him in easily and starts explaining some things, starts trying to help. Later, starts to realize Ollie ain't a bird because she ends up falling on a little pod thing that changes her appearance as well, but instantly learns, oh, so you're a puku. And now I'm remembering the name. You're a chipmunk. Well, you were a bird. And they both just end up being chased through the wild by these different creatures. What I thought was really cool. Thought was insane. But there were just so many breathtaking, it took my breath away, animated scenes where I was just like, wow, they really did a good job on this movie. They really worked their magic. And, magic. But I was just so impressed. And I'm trying to remember. I believe the studio that made this was Skydance Animation. I don't know too much about them. I know that they made the movie Spellbound along with Luck, and they made one more, which I was a little questionable on. It was, I think it might have been what's it called? It might have been a short, but it was called Blush. But this is the first time I'm watching something Skydance animated. I haven't seen those movies yet. I will. But I'm just very impressed with them. And I honestly, if this is the animation style they've been doing, continue it. Because it looked incredible. Incredible. But let me get to the part that impressed me about friendship and trust. Little by little, obviously, they're going through their Freaky Friday stuff where they're just not getting how each of them work. They're not getting how, for example, all these animal, or Ollie's kind, their noses are they help them see pretty much. Like, they're not blind. Like, they can see things. Obviously, their eyes work, but their noses help them really see way more in detail. Like, they can smell certain things, sniff them out. They have a high sensitivity to certain things. And I thought that was really cool for Ivy to learn, especially when they're trying to get through a certain obstacle. And then it was cool instantly when Ivy is teaching Ollie how to fly. That was another animated sequence that I was just very impressed with. Like, it's not just how he was flying, it was just that how they were doing certain things in the air when it was going. Like, how she was explaining how to fly to him. It was almost like that scene in Invincible where Omni-Man in season 1 is explaining to Mark how they fly. And it was cool that he was saying, we kind of just push off of the air. Do this, do that. And that's what it felt like with this. It was just really nice to get her narration, helping Ollie, and also Ollie even enjoying flying. Because at first it was like, this dude is a lost cause. But right when he learns how to fly, it was really cool to see the certain motions they were showing. Especially, it gave me vibes almost like How to Train Your Dragon, where Hiccup and Toothless are first learning how to fly. And when he finally gets it, when he actually accidentally loses that paper. But this takes its time, and this is really cool. So maybe it's like that scene where Hiccup, Toothless, and I'm blanking on her name, but Toothless's love interest. That's probably what this is like. But it was very nice. The other friendship and trust part, and that's the other crazy thing that took me out. There was another voice actor in this movie that I was honestly a little questionable about them casting, but later turned out to be the perfect choice, and I was just mind blown on how big of a part he played. This is Tracy Morgan playing a little fish called Boogle. Or the kind was even called Boogle, but we called him Boogle in the movie. But his character, very funny, little fish, all sweet, kind of giving Olaf vibes from Frozen, but very friendly fish, very friendly, nothing to worry about. Helps Ivy and Ollie, especially explaining where the pods are, helping them on their journey, and was just a very funny character to learn from. But there is a monologue where you are just listening to him because they both accidentally turn into the boogle fish that he is. And they start swimming in the water. And at this point, Ivy realizes that Ollie and Ivy met when they were younger. And she realizes that she played an effect on how his home situation currently is. And Tracy Morgan gives such a good like monologue on just being lonely and also just needing people. And it explains something about his character because there were so many times when he was in the water talking to Ollie mainly, and he was just talking about, you're my best friend, and like I haven't talked to a person in what, like 500, 400 years or something like that. And it was just sweet to hear him like talk about how his loneliness is pretty much affecting him and how it's just messed with him as a whole, and like it people need people, and that people are affected in different ways when they are dealing with loneliness. And I was like, this movie getting real, really real. But I thought it was getting to an end point. But that's when I checked the time, and I'm like, there's still like 35 minutes left in this movie. How much more can they do? It feels like they're hitting it on the nail on exactly certain things need to like happen. Like I think they could end it right when they get to the pods. Boy, was I surprised. They get to these pods where they're trying to change back to their original animal characteristics, and you're just thinking like, all right, so what more do they have to do? Like they're changed, they're good, but then all of a sudden when they change back to their original like bodies, and they're talking to the booglefish going like, what do you want to change into? Because the booglefish said like, hey, can I come with you to probably change too? And they're like, yeah. So you're thinking, oh, it's probably going to change into, well, why would it want to change? Because I'm like, if you were a fish, you should be fine. Little did I know, Tracy Morgan is the villain of the movie. Yeah. Tracy Morgan's character, the booglefish, is the villain of the movie. And it surprised the heck out of me. I was just sitting there. I was like, wow, this is a nice movie. This is what the... I literally sit back the whole time and I'm just like, what? Like, he's just going through different things. He's like, I could be a puku. I could be a bird. No, I want to be, and his voice change was so good. I was shook. Tracy Morgan, you need to keep doing more voice acting. I was shook. He just goes, I want to be a fire wolf. And I went, and he changes into the exact villain that was explained to us at the start of the movie. And it took me out. I was sitting there and I was like, you're telling me you are the fire wolf that ruined this whole land? And he just gives the sickest, like, he's talking about, yeah, they trapped me in that fish for 300 years, thought it was a joke, but I'm going to take everything back. And I was like, I was still just sitting there like, what the heck? Tracy Morgan is really the villain of this movie. What is going on? That was the perfect choice because it really just took me out. And then he knocks him out, brings them back to their little forest, and he starts lighting things on fire, and he destroys the pods. And I'm like, bro, what? I was sitting there like, how do they solve this now? Now I understand why this movie had like 40 or 30 minutes left. They have to solve this situation. And I thought it was so funny that this fish was just alone for this whole time. I'm thinking this probably just going to play Olaf or something like that. No, this fish was imprisoned because it's the villain of the movie. And I'm just taking it back. I'm like, how are they going to solve this? And it was just so nice to see how, you know, this movie really tested trust. Like, really tested trust. Like, yes, it was about friendship, but this movie was really about trust. And I was just taken aback. I was like, I hope kids watch this just so that they know, like, you know, you can have friends without a doubt, but just be careful with who you trust. Be careful with the whole stranger danger thing, because you never know what that stranger's done in the past. And I'm not going to lie, if I ever see Tracy Morgan again, or Tracy Morgan in general, I'm going to watch my step, because that messed me up. That reveal messed me up, and I don't know if I can watch a Tracy Morgan movie again, because usually he is always the comedic relief that is always there to either help out a certain person or even just be a funny vibe in the movie. This messed me up. I was really not expecting it. Oh, maybe I'll be a fire wolf. I went, but that was awesome, man. Like I really just thought that was a very cool change because the sequences that were going on, obviously it took a little bit longer for them to get swapped, changing the different characters, but that switch of that was another thing. We didn't even know who the villain was. There were obviously like obstacles they faced, animals that were trying to eat them, but we didn't know the main villain. If it was really just going to be them two versus each other to finally learn a lesson, or if there really was just a villain that we didn't even realize, which AKA was Tracy Morgan, which I was really impressed with. Like, I need more animated movies to do that, especially if they're trying to switch the story around, because everybody's seen a Freaky Friday or a twins type of story over and over again. But if you can change certain elements of the story, that's something I respect. That's something that I love. And this movie right here, I would definitely watch it again, not just because the animation was incredible, but because the voice acting was good, the story was good, and it taught a very good lesson. Trust comes a long way. And going to my final point of this whole segment, trust comes a long way too when you're giving it out. Like, there were obviously points at the beginning where they put their trust in the wrong person, or were hesitant with who they trusted. But then later, even when they were getting chased by all these animals, almost eaten, there were so many times that they actually helped out these different animals when they didn't even know it. There was a scene where Ollie and Ivy, I believe it was mainly Ollie. No, it was the whole team. It was Ollie, Ivy, and even the Booglefish that you find out is later evil, helped save this little tree wolf cub that was about to fall in the water. Gave it back to the animal, or the dad wooden wolf that was going after them with his gang of wooden wolves. And you see a sign of, hey, thank you for that. Why'd you do that? I don't know why you did that. I was going to eat you, but thank you. You could tell that was what was being communicated. I'm sorry. That was communicated in my head. I'm just saying. But it was just really cool to see, while the fire was like lighting this whole forest on fire, they needed help getting the animals out of there. And this is like the wild robot type of moment when the forest is on fire, or when everything's snowing and the wild robot's helping to save all these different creatures from dying in this snow. That's what this was like. They're trying to save them from the fire. And once again, there's another lesson where the thing we learned from the beginning with Ollie's family. Don't ever trust another animal. Stick with your little social group area. Don't let anybody in. And there's a scene where Ollie is helping a couple of these animals cross the river to get over to their little area. And instantly, his whole pack is there with all these different chipmunks. And they're just saying, Ollie, no, you shouldn't have brought him here. And Ollie's like, they need our help. And for a second, they're thinking about it, but they see the situation in back of them. And instantly, they start helping. But it's just so cool. Like, obviously they're scared. Obviously they're like, well, we can't help these creatures because you don't know, they might kill us, they might do this, they might do that. But in the spur of the moment, they just instantly help them, especially since it was a little cub. But it was just nice to get a lesson like that. And it was a very good lesson to teach kids because, yeah, trust is hard to give out. But once you do give that trust and it's awarded back to you, it's a very good feeling. It's very perfect. And I just love that, man. I loved it. I thought this movie did a very good job of explaining that. And if I were to give this movie a rating, I'm going to give this a high 8, only because I keep thinking about The Wild Robot. I keep thinking about Hoppers. And those two movies were very good. Like, I think The Wild Robot, that's a 9 out of 10 to me. A very high 9 out of 10. Hoppers was a 9 out of 10 as well. This one, I think I'm close to a 9 out of 10. I need to watch it again, but I'm at a high 8 out of 10 for this one. A high 8 out of 10. But this was a very good movie. It definitely had things I did not expect. I think the villain for both of these movies is better in my opinion because it was just a huge surprise, but I was impressed, and I would highly recommend you guys watch this movie. If you guys are even having trouble with your friendships or trust right now in people, trust in the world, whatever. Like, it's definitely at high stakes today, but I would highly recommend watching this, especially showing this to kids because it's just fun. It looks pretty. It looks beautiful. And it's also just a good lesson. But definitely go watch it. It's on Netflix. It came out last week as I'm recording this. And it's just a nice watch. It's nice to watch. It's beautiful. It's fun. And you guys shouldn't prohibit yourself from it. No, it's animated, but it's good. What's good, y'all? We getting back to it with our review on The Devil Wears Prada 2. And I'm here with our producer, Tyler. How you doing, man?
What up? I'm doing good, man.
Hey, you chilling?
Yeah, I'm chilling.
I know you've been looking forward to this movie, man. But low-key, after I watched it for the first time, I was kind of looking forward to seeing what they do with this one, too. Mm-hmm. Now, what are your initial thoughts, or what's your experience with The Devil Wears Prada?
It's been a staple comedy for years for me, so I really enjoyed it, watching clips. I mean, it's like... it's kind of like, like listening to like the album Thriller, it's like, there's just like, it has like a collection of scenes that are just like, you can just revisit them all on their own and just, it's a really fun vibe. So I really liked it. The marketing around this was pretty fun too. There was like a pop-up in LA where you could get like a free like runway magazine, had Emily Blunt on the cover, like a full spread, like a legit publication. And then, then I got to see the Walk of Fame ceremony for Emily Blunt and Stanley Tucci, which was, in promotion for the movie. So that was really fun. Being able to have them walk by was really cool. I mean, I got Meryl Streep waving at me for half a second, and I'm going to treasure that forever. But yeah, I like the marketing rollout. It's a party. It's a vibe.
Now, I know in the past, I know we talked about it before, and you and I both have a differing opinion of the first movie. I know I'm a little bit more like, I didn't like it fully, and then you were more like, this movie's good.
Yeah.
What about it, because I pretty much already have an idea with like a lot of other people I talk to about why they love it, but what do you love or like about the first movie so much?
I think it's smartly written. I think, for example, the very famous cerulean sweater speech scene. Like, what I really like about like that scene, for example, is like, I think we tend to think of ourselves exempt from different ecosystems around us, especially, like fashion, for example. We think we're making choices for ourselves and our taste, and even our taste in music and movies and things that we like. And really, it's like a trickle down of like of like what trendsetters are deciding for you. And it's not it's as much as autonomous as we want to believe we all are. It's like it's like, how many influencers are you following on Instagram, and how many of them are actually shaping what you think about things?
That's true.
And so it's a really smart and clever movie. I think that's why I appreciate it. And they do it they deliver in a very fun package, and it's got great performances. Meryl Streep should have won a third Oscar for that, but she was also going up against Helen Mirren for The Queen. Understandable, really. It's a movie that I think has a very much lightning in the bottle. That's very hard to replicate, and it's a movie that's very of its moment and has been able to stand the test of time, I think.
Okay. All right.
At least for me.
No, I get that. I think the only one with me, and this is probably the like, I'm not gonna say dumbest take on it. It's just how rude people were in the movie really gets to me.
Yeah.
That's just a testament to how good of like actors Emily Blunt and Meryl Streep are. Yeah. Because I hated them in the first movie. I was just like, could y'all be nice for like 1 second? For like one stinking second. And Anne Hathaway, loved her character, Andy. It was just, I was getting very annoyed with how rude everybody was. And then I think that was mainly the whole point. And then I guess towards the end was where I was like, I feel like Andy learned the lesson here, but I don't think the other two really did. I think they liked her more, a little bit more than what it started as. But even after, when they got off the call, when she got off the call with Emily, that's so funny, Emily Blunt, Emily. And then when she got off the call with her, there was a sweet moment where it's like, I'd love to take your clothes, like have to get it resized or something, but I'll take them. And then she smiled for a sec, but then she was still rude to the next sister that was there, and I was like, I don't know if we learned something here. And then Meryl Streep's character, we saw her smile, like act all tough, like when she sees her at the car, and then Andy waves at her, and she's like, who are you, or whatever, and it just gets in the car. But she smiles, and it's like, okay, we learned something. Then she rude to the driver again. But then the more I'm like thinking about it now, obviously there was something learned. Yeah. But to me, at first watching it, it didn't seem like it for me. I watched it twice. Watched it twice for y'all to know, because I gave it a chance again. Watched it twice and I realized that. But that was the thing that was bugging me this whole time. I was like, did they really learn anything? Like, I know Andy's character did. I loved Andy's character, but did they learn anything? So now, and I'm going into the Devil Wears Prada 2.
Yeah.
We flash over, and I'm not giving spoilers yet. We flash over to The Devil Wears Prada 2. I'm in that theater. I'm thinking, I hope this, is better than the first one. I'm going to say I like this more than the first one. I'm going to say personally I did. I was really impressed with a lot of the shots, a lot of the clothes. I'm not too in the fashion. Like, I'm over here in the stinking hat and the t-shirt. Like, I don't know too much. But I was very impressed with a lot of what was being shown, a lot of the office areas, how busy it looked. A lot of the clothes they just came out with out of the blue. And I think what helped too was my audience. Because there was a lot of I walked in, there were a lot of more mature, older people, but there were some teens in there as well. And the coolest thing, almost bugged me for a sec, but I don't care. I got a seat, and I get it always advance a little bit more. Like, I get my seat, and I'm there, and nobody was sitting next to me when I checked. Today, I saw that there were 2 people sitting next to me. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm walking up the steps because I'm 10 minutes late. And there was this woman, or these 2 probably best friends, and they were a little stylish, styled out. Like, she had heels. She had it on my seat though, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm sitting over here. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Very nice though. She was very nice, but she had a real nice jacket. She had real nice heels. She had her food, popcorn, everything. But even she had a blanket that looked pretty nice, and her outfit was pretty cool. And I was like, okay, so I'm gonna probably listen in whenever certain if a purse shows up, if a jacket shows up, and I'm gonna think me, I have my own taste. I'll like it, but then I'll make sure how does everybody else feel about it. Whenever certain things showed up, they were like, oh my gosh, and they gossip about it, be like, that looks so nice, and I'm like, okay, so my taste ain't bad. That's nice, but that was a lot of the movie, and I was very impressed with that. But the story was also what I was really liking. I really liked Miranda a bit more. And obviously I liked Emily, which is what I was fully focused on to me. I was like, I don't care. I know Andy's going to be cool. I know Stanley Tucci's character, I forgot his name. Nigel. I like Nigel, so I know he's going to be cool. I really want to just like Miranda and Emily. And that movie accomplished it to me. And I liked it. I liked it more than the first one. But Tyler, I want to hear your thoughts on it because once again, I'm not the biggest fan of The Devil Wears Prada, but I understand the fandom. So I want to hear from you and get your thoughts on The Devil Wears Prada 2. I
liked it. I mean, I like the original more. I'd say I have more kind of Freaky Friday and Freaky Friday 2. Where it's close, but the other one's legendary. So so that's how I feel. But I enjoyed it. I really loved the Italy stuff a bit more. I think that's when a lot of the filmmaking and stuff came more into focus. I think a lot of the fashions were really good. I think my favorite Meryl look is probably going to be the thumbnail on this. I liked how the first one was kind of it was almost the fantasy of being in the environment of publishing and fashion. And this one was okay, this took a much more, I think, kind of grounded in where we are now in the mid 2020s with publications and how everything's getting bought out. All these tech conglomerates are buying up things, and how we have to answer sadly to algorithms rather than
oh yeah.
I like that they weren't playing coy about that, and this is disrupting, and questions about artistic integrity. And I think a couple of my favorite moments is when Andy, when she's when Meryl's coming by her office, and she's I've been publishing all these hard-hitting articles that that it's real journalism, and Meryl's but we're not getting enough clicks. If we're not getting clicks, we're not getting paid. And then when they're later in Italy, they get more into that kind of discussion with and I like that they were willing to do something more with the sequel and actually address what's happening in the world right now.
Oh yeah, be with the times, especially with the focus on going from printing magazines to posting articles online and everything, and how that's more of the focus, which is what I thought was really cool, and why I thought it was cool that they brought Andy back. For a second at the start, I was a little bit how is this gonna work? Because you had her accepting the award at the beginning of the movie, and then you find out that her whole staff or whatever got fired, and then you're so she's looking for a job, but how is she getting back in the runway? Because I didn't see the second trailer. I only saw the teaser that came out, so I didn't know, and I'm glad I didn't, because I wanted to know exactly what was going on in the movie. But I was very impressed where they were just oh no, she can write her articles, she can come in and fix up everything, make it a little bit more spicier. And I was like, all right, okay, that seems super believable. I like this. But I think at the start it was getting a little rocky for a sec because I wasn't really feeling how like it was flowing for a sec. It felt a little bit more unrealistic for a second, especially when they met finally for the first time again. And I was kind of like, I don't know. But then I got way more into it when it slowly became her trying to figure out what type of articles to put out, her trying to get that interview with the person that nobody's seen or talked to in, what did they say, 5 years? A decade?
I think it's like 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
3 years.
But still a while.
Yeah, but I was getting really into that when they were just trying to figure out what their niche is, like what exactly like their style should be when they're posting articles. And then the story finally goes when you're trying to when you hear about Miranda, I'm getting a promotion. Yeah. I'm gonna be senior. I forgot what the title was, but senior digital.
Yeah, she's
advisor.
gonna like. Yeah, she's basically gonna be in charge of like all the publications under Elias Clark.
Yeah, and then right when I was hearing all that, I was kind of like, I feel like something isn't gonna go right because it's sounding too good to be true. They in the Hamptons. Karl Anthony Towns is there for some stinking reason out of all the NBA players. Shame on you guys. It should have been Russell Westbrook. I'm playing. I love it, but then a thing happens and you're just like, oh, and I instantly got into it because I was like, and I know the son is different. If you guys don't know, spoiler alert, Irv dies and his son takes over, and his son, he didn't exactly do what I thought he was going to do, which I love, by the way. I love that choice. He was more of a guy where he's like, I'm trying to get with the times. I'm trying to actually like wipe out everything that seems like it's unnecessary. But the biggest thing was the situation with who's going to own Runway, and I was like, oh, this is very interesting. Like I was low-key actually feeling for Miranda because I was like, I don't know, man, whoever's gonna buy it, I don't think they're gonna do a good job, and what she does is really good. I remember that first movie. I don't think y'all should take her out of it, but I was really impressed with that. That's one of the reasons why I was really into the movie too. Like, once again, it's a very pretty, like very well shot movie, but I was very impressed with the story it was giving me. Like, I really thought it wasn't going to be all that, but I was impressed. What did you think about the story of who's going to own Runway?
I thought, again, like, it's one of those very, like, timely kind of things. What, a couple months ago, we were, like, all scrambling about, like, who's going to buy Warner Brothers, you know? It's like, is it going to be Paramount? Is it going to be Netflix? Universal? Like, should you throw yourself in the ring for this? That would have been my wish, but those prayers were not heard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, it's like, it's reflecting the unfortunate reality that we live in right now. I will say, I think they did, you know, in this case, they did end up with their Universal situation.
I don't know. I was just really impressed. Like, I was very impressed, and I liked it. And I don't know. When it ended, I was really thinking, I think they could do a third one. I feel like there could be a third one that could go well with this. My thing was, I don't know exactly what the issue would be. Because one thing I was thinking for a second was, maybe the three are having trouble in their 3 different departments, and they're just colliding, keep bashing heads, and they can't really form the best unity for Runway going forward. But I'm like, that wouldn't really make sense, and I don't know if I want to see that, because I feel like that would just be a problem from the last 2 movies. So there was that. There was the whole, like, oh, another buyer comes in and is trying to buy them off, or another competitor. But I'm like, I don't really know if they've been this good for that long. I don't think anybody would really come into that. It's been 20 years. They were good on top then. They're still on top 20 years after. So I don't know. I guess I'm wondering what you would do as a sequel.
Yeah, plot-wise, I don't really know. I just know that Nigel desperately needs a Negroni, a promotion, and a boyfriend. Man deserves a lot. Which I will say, I'm glad that they gave the characters flowers. You know, where he got the opportunity to make that speech. You know, because Miranda's like miffed him a lot of times. It's like,
big time.
She's like, all right, and she's like, actually, I think that's like one thing I was like kind of like impressed too. Is like she has that moment of realization of like, oh my god, like wait, after all these years, like he actually wants to like do more. It's like, who would have thought, Miranda? Yeah.
I actually really did love that scene.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I wish we actually got to see the speech, though. That would have been great.
Oh, man.
But
that was awesome. Like, I literally, right when Andy asked her, or what did Andy say? Because she said something and then Miranda realized something. Or did Miranda realize it by herself? She was like, have I been using you?
Yeah.
Or have I been taking advantage of you? And I was like,
yeah.
She learning. And I was like, oh my gosh. That's one of the scenes where I was like, yep, this movie, 1000% like it. 1000% respect it. I was just like, I like you now. Yeah. I like Miranda. Because, I know people can get so involved with their work where it's like, you get so like locked in on like continuing the, it's like, or the consistency, continuing the consistency on and being able to do the same thing over and over again, but you forget about different people and you forget about like how it's affecting others. But I love how she realized, like, yo, like, you've been here since, like, day one helping me with this. And I just want to know, like, have I been using you? Have I been taking advantage of you? And, I mean, shout out to Nigel just being like, nah, you haven't. I was like, bro, you should have just said it then. But I'm just glad that she asked him to do the speech. I'm very glad. But I just wanted to shout that out because I did hate Miranda in that first one, but... Now I see that she got a little humanity in her. I see that.
Yeah.
Did we have any other thoughts, or did you have any other questions? Because I'm pretty much chilling.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to shout out about. Justin Theroux is the kind of dopey billionaire, Emily's boyfriend. He was pretty fun to watch. I loved that Last Supper scene, or like when they're touring it, right at first. Look, anytime that you're gonna like bring art to like bring in like an actual like painting or something as like a thematic element, bravo. And to use Last Supper for that, I thought was really cool. And Meryl just being like, I know you're my Judas, Anne. I know you're my Judas.
That was so funny. I was like, right when she looked at it and said the Last Supper, I was like, oh, she gonna bring up Judas.
Yeah, great Easter egg too, because like she might be Aslan. We don't know yet, but she might be Aslan. So like you got Meryl, voice of Jesus, right there.
They got to do it now. They have to.
But anyways, but yeah, I really like that scene. I really liked. I don't know. I liked it was a legacy sequel that wasn't just trying to play the greatest hits. They're like, if we're gonna come back, we're gonna come back and say something that's important. We're gonna reflect what's going on in the world and be there in that moment. And they didn't waste the opportunity. I was happy to revisit these characters. It was an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be literally what you said with the whole legacy movie thing at the start, but it turned into something really good and worth the money and worth the attention. Obviously, it's The Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah,
like I don't hate it. It's just it was very impressive.
Yeah, it's a great cast. Look forward to seeing them and I looked forward to seeing them all together in this. If they, and if they want to make a third, I am not going to object to it. Like they're a good hang for 2 hours, So
I think they should make a third one.
They should.
I think they should.
They should.
And I'll be there. We'll both be there.
Yes.
But did you have anything else you wanted to say?
I'm sure there is, but it's not coming to mind. So.
Hey, no problem at all. All right, welcome back, guys. If you guys have been staying on this long, let's get to our final segment, which is what I've been watching. This time, I've been watching some pretty good stuff. I'm not gonna lie. The first thing I want to put out there, I've been seeing a lot of discourse on Twitter about what's a better animated series, Batman the Animated Series or Invincible. For now, because I have not finished all the episodes of Batman the Animated Series, I'm going to pick Invincible because I love the story. I've read the comic book. I hope that they animate exactly what goes on in the comic book, but I just really like the story. But with Batman the Animated Series, that is nostalgia to the max. I remember as a kid coming home on Friday and Saturday and seeing Batman the Animated Series on the telecast or the guide that they show you. I was very excited because I love Batman. I would watch whatever episode was on. I never watched it in order because they never had it in order for me. I was never really allowed to watch TV like Monday through Thursday. The Friday and the weekends was where I was allowed to a lot of times. Got better easily, obviously, but watching these episodes again, I'm watching them in order. I'm at season 1 now, and I know it's going to take me a long time, but I committed to 1 episode per day, so hopefully I can catch up. But I got to season 1, episode, I think 11 or 12 of Batman the Animated Series, and I really love I loved it as a kid. I loved the animation. I love Bruce Wayne and Batman. Obviously, you can't go wrong with the original, the most iconic voice to voice over Batman ever, Kevin Costner. But like, I love how they tell the story and introductions for these different villains. I love the music, the soundtrack. I love the costumes. This show is unbelievable. Like, it's so good, but it also has a lot of episodes. So once again, I'm gonna stick with Invincible, but this is a classic. Batman the Animated Series, it's probably the superhero show of all time. Like, if you're talking about superhero anything, you have to watch this because it's incredible. And I'm just so glad I'm watching this like from the start and then trying to work my way up. I don't know if seasons 2 through 4 have 64 episodes as well, but I'm gonna try to finish it all. My bad, I slapped my little thing right here. I'm gonna try to finish it all, and I'm gonna try to give not a full review, but my whole take, and even giving it back to the whole like, hey, is it better than Invincible? Because maybe, but I mean, let's think about it. They had way more episodes to do what they could do, but I'm very impressed with Batman the Animated Series. Another show I finished, which took me a while, but obviously it's because they released the whole thing and I just didn't have time. But I finally finished Bel-Air Season 4. If you guys don't know, Bel-Air is a more dramatic version of the comedy I know and love called The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air comedy, Will Smith moves to Bel-Air because things were getting rough over in West Philly, and it was just a lot of comedy in the house, at Bel-Air Academy, wherever they were, but it was a sitcom that was funny, and it had some real moments. Had some real moments a lot of times. This show is different. It's on Peacock, but it's a way more dramatized version that has a lot of real moments with a little bit of comedy. There are some comedic moments, but I am such a fan of Season 1. Season 1 of Bel-Air did a very good job of giving us these dilemmas with these different characters, what they're facing, and how they could probably overcome them in Seasons 2 and 3. Like, Season 1 did a very good job of that, with one of the staples to me being not just Will coming into this house, messing with how things were and how Carlton's flow was going. My bad, guys, need some water. But Season 4 was such a good redemptive season. Or, my bad, Season 1 also had a moment that I forgot to mention, where Will finally sees his father. And I remember seeing that moment for the first time, and I believe it was episode 8 or 9 of the show. And it was a very, like, tough scene, very, like, words were being thrown at each other, like a lot of threats, a lot of, like, it was a moment that really, you could feel the hurt in Will, and you can see the sadness, but also learning about Will's father, who was played by Marlon Wayans, was an even better choice to me. Like, I love that casting choice, but it was just so good to see redemption in that, because each season when you go forward, Will slowly starts to gain admiration again for his father, but he also is able to get past all that anger he felt. Because when I tell you that scene in Season 1 is explosive, it's explosive. It's unbelievably, it's super well done. But in Season 4, it's so nice that they wrap all of these different, like, situations and drama that happened in Season 1 up in a bow of just forgiveness. And once again, it took a while. It took 4 seasons for Will to finally be able to sit down with his father and have actual father-son time. But they do a nice twist to it that I fully respect in Season 4, where Will and his father, in the original Fresh Prince of Bel-Air series, he shows up in the last episode and is promising Will all these things where it's like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But then all of a sudden, he has to leave, and he plans not to tell Will, but then he tells Will, and it's one of the saddest and most realist scenes in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Because there's an unscripted moment where, I mean, Will is crying, like the real Will Smith, he's crying, but then Uncle Phil goes over and gives him a huge, generic, or authentic hug that just felt so real and so good at the moment. In this version of Bel-Air, though, Will, his father, at the time, is trying to figure out a way to tell him he has a job opportunity coming up. And at this point, him and Uncle Phil are butting heads, like from the jump. Like they're butting heads. They're going like, you should have been here for that. I've been helping Will. I've been helping Viv. I've been helping your wife with certain things that were going on. But Will, I think this moment is different because with Will's father in this moment, he actually feels bad for having to leave Will because things are just going well. They were playing basketball. They're talking. They're hanging out. They're planning to do certain things. Go to a Laker game. All that. But he has to take this opportunity because one, he got out of jail. He's an ex-felon. Two, it's hard for ex-felons to get jobs. And three, if there's a job opportunity that pays better than what he's currently doing, I mean, he has to take it. So it was a very reasonable moment. But it was just good that when he did get the chance to tell him, he didn't hold back. He didn't try to lie. He just told him, and Will was able to understand. But when he is saying goodbye, or when he is, like, talking it out with him, you can feel, like, actual sadness. But it's not sadness where he hates him. It's more like sadness where it's like, things were just going well. Like, I just wish it could stay that way. And it probably could. Like, that's why I love the next moment when Will's dad says, hey, we still got this. We're able to talk. Like, it's not like I'm leaving you. I'm just going for a job opportunity. I'm always going to be talking to you still. But it was just a much better version. Or not a much better version. It's tough because I can't choose between the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's version and then Bel-Air's version. I feel like both are good in their own ways because with Will Smith in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, once again, a comedy show. Through and through. It's probably 98% comedy, but then the 2% realism was that scene of Will Smith crying, getting that hug from Uncle Phil. This was just coming of age. You hated him in season 1, slowly gained more moments of actually appreciating him, rebuilding the connection, relationship you have, and then having that moment where it's like, yo, we're almost there, but then so far apart. And it was just so nice to have that. It's so nice to have the character development too, because his father was not there in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So having him be an actual character that comes in 1 or 2 episodes each season, so good. But I love the way Bel-Air wrapped it up, especially with a surprise. There were 2 surprises I didn't expect in this show. The one surprise where Snoop Dogg was their stinking teacher for 1 episode. And then the last surprise, which I think was the perfect bow, where the real Will Smith is talking to the current Will Smith in Bel-Air to end the season. And that really just was a touching moment that I thought was a very good job on its own part. Because with Bel-Air, from the jump, they had all the characters from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air have surprise roles. Ashley was in it. They had Jeffrey, the original butler, who plays a really sick character in this show. And then they have Will Smith finish it off in such a good way. I think they even have the Aunt Viv, the second version of Aunt Viv in it as well. But I just love how each time in this show they honored the original show, which I was such a fan of. But this show, I can't wait to rewatch it in the future. Again, all of them, because I always wanted a version of this. I remember there was a fan trailer that was made that I believe encouraged the production on a more drama version of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which I just love. But season 1 will always be my favorite. And then if I had to rank it, season 1, season 2, season 4, season 3. I wasn't a huge fan of season 3, but it's still fun to watch. But this show is going to hold like a part of my heart that I'm going to definitely go back to. But I'm just glad that it ended on a good note. 4 seasons good. And I can't wait to watch it again. Um, there's a show. There's two more things I watched that I'm gonna finish off of real quick. There's a show that I started that I hope to finish next week to give you guys a review on, and that is Beef. I am on Beef season 2. I already watched season 1 before I even started this podcast, and I love Beef season 1. Beef season 1 was so good. If you guys don't like the first 5 minutes of Beef, I don't know why you're watching it after that. But Beef season 1, unbelievable writing, unbelievable characters that I thought was really cool, and the fact that they actually had beef that they kept handling through each episode was unbelievable, and it had my attention the whole way. Beef season 2, I am in the show right now. This season, Oscar Isaac and I believe the woman who played Rose in The Great Gatsby, she's in it. But then there's two characters that have been on a really good rise. One of them, he is one of the stars in Riverdale that I remember from, and he also played a character in Bad Boys for Life, or was it Bad Boys Ride or Die? It was one of the two, but he is in this along with a woman named Kaylee Spaney. I'm surprised I remember her name, but I remember her from Alien Romulus, and she did a very good job. But this season is way more about couples. That's what I'm getting. This is more about two couples who are going at each other, and it's all because of a certain thing that happened. Because of the certain thing that happened, this one couple threatens to report them for what happened, and in order for them not to report it, they're asking for certain advances because they all work in the same area. This one couple is in charge of this country club that they work at, and the other couple works as a golf attendee or something like that. Like they're actual workers in the country club. And that is what I'm getting so far with it. But I don't know how I feel about it so far. I still got to finish it, but it doesn't grab my attention the same way that season 1 did. Because season 1, off the bat, in the first 10 seconds, instantly into it. This one is a slow build. Definitely a slow build. But I love these actors. I love, obviously the shots are super good. It's A24 that produced it. But also, I believe the creator is Lee Sung-jin, but I think Jake Schreier, the person who made Thunderbolts and is going to be making the X-Men movies, is also a person who's a part of this project. But it looks so good so far. The camera shots are incredible. The locations they have look insane. But I love Beef. I love this show. And I hope that season 2 finishes well. Especially, and you guys are going to hear from it soon in my review for next week, but I just hope it's good. I hope it is. But so far, it's okay. It's okay. I'm following it, but it's definitely a slow build. The last thing that I want to highlight, and I'm going to get some water before I get into this. All right. The last thing I want to highlight that I watched that I actually really loved was the movie Green Book. If you guys don't know, Green Book was a movie that came out in, I believe, 2017 or 2018. I've been trying to watch it for the longest time. But this movie, 2018, I understand why there was so much, good criticism about this movie. If you guys don't know, Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali are the two main characters in this movie. And they are two differing characters. This is the time of the Civil Rights Act, during segregation and all that. And it's at a time, the 1960s, and it's at a time when apparently, if you don't know, Viggo's character, Tony, he is an Italian white American. And Mahershala Ali's character is Dr. Donald Shirley, who is a accomplished musician or pianist. And the goal of this film is for Tony to act as a security / chauffeur for Dr. Donald Shirley to travel in the Deep South to perform for different groups that some of them aren't really for segregation, others of them are, and that was crazy to see. a lot, but the start of the movie was very good. We get to understand Tony and get more into like who he is, why he does certain things, and um, what his character is like before meeting Dr. Donald Shirley. After, we get to see how he pretty much, I guess, yeah, pretty much changes throughout their journey. But the thing that I really loved about this movie was the conversations that both Tony and Dr. Shirley have. Dr. Shirley, who is a black man also, who is also very intelligent, very good at the keys. Like, I was very shook on. I want to know if Mahershala Ali was really playing the piano, because if he was, bro, you are talented, unbelievably talented. But it was so nice to hear from them when they were both trying to talk about, I mean, obviously their different perspectives, different backgrounds, both of their races, and like exactly how to deal with certain things of that time. And Dr. Shirley was just a good character for that, obviously because he was a black man living in the 1960s, but it was just so good that he wasn't a stereotypical black man at that time. He was not what everybody would perceive. Like, if you first see him, like, you're obviously going to have your own perspective of him. But he was a very, like, accomplished, intelligent individual who apparently wasn't fully a part of his culture. And there were a lot of conversations that were had that even from the jump, when Tony was explaining all these different famous black artists that Dr. Shirley apparently hasn't heard of, he kept on saying, what? You don't notice these are your people? Like, what's going on? And you just see the discomfort in Dr. Shirley when he says that. And there's a scene later that gets into that I was very impressed with Mahershala Ali explaining it. He was pretty much just saying, just because I'm not in love with fried chicken, just because I don't know certain artists, like, how does that define my blackness? Like, how does that define who I am? Like, my own people don't want me, and the people I perform with don't want me. So who am I? And I was like, oof. That is so tough. Because I feel like today there is some stuff like that. Like, there's always somebody who's trying to be blacker than the next person. Where really we should just be happy with the fact that we are black and proud. And I was just happy that Dr. Shirley in the movie doesn't detest himself like that fully. I know there are issues in the movie where he does seem like he does hate himself. But it's not because he's just blacker himself. It's not just because he's black. It's because of certain things that he's dealt with in his life. So I am happy that he still is proud of his culture. But I was just impressed with that dialogue or even that situation being in the movie. With Tony, he's a rough dude, tough, really, really awesome protector. But he was even a guy who started going soft when Dr. Shirley was trying to help him with certain, not trying to be a manly man every second. Trying to get on that softer side. Like, I love the scenes when he's trying to help him write letters. And he's telling him, I'll write for you, or write down what I say. And just their whole dynamic was just so addicting and so funny to watch. But I was very impressed with it. And this movie definitely is one of those movies that I think would be in my top 10. Like, I just really loved it. And I really love the conversation. I really love the characters. Like, Mahershala Ali is unbelievably talented. Like, unbelievably talented. I'm very disappointed even more now. Like, I'm watching this movie for the first time, but I've seen movies with Mahershala Ali in it before. I've seen a lot. And the fact that Marvel still, I know I say this every podcast episode, but I'm still mad. The fact that he doesn't have his own Blade movie is criminal. Criminal. What are we doing? Marvel, what are we doing? This man is unbelievably talented. The way he kept on fixing his suit in the stinking movie, I was like, I wish he was fixing his gun or fixing his, like, stinging vest in a Blade movie that should have came out, like, what is it, 2026? Like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. It's already been late. He's so talented. Unbelievably talented. And I'm just so impressed with him in this movie. Like, he was so funny. And same with Viggo Mortensen. Unbelievably funny, and the situations they were dealing with, especially when they bumped into racist or had to deal with racist, so good. But as much as I love this movie, there were times when I just really felt bad that, the 1960s were the 1960s. But I'm just glad that it somewhat I mean, obviously, it is different. Like, we don't have colored only signs up anymore, to my knowledge. I just want to point that out. But it was just so good to listen to these two go back and forth, especially with their different perspectives, and find a common ground. Especially with that nice, like, end of scene moment when Dr. Shirley comes home to Tony's family for a Christmas dinner. And I thought that was so nice because at the beginning of the movie, Tony obviously did not like black people. He did not like colored people. There were two people working on his plumbing that his wife gave water to in a glass. And he did not like or had a superstition so much. He got those two glasses and threw them in the trash. Threw them in the trash. That's how much he did not like black people at the time. But then, when he starts taking Dr. Shirley out, being pretty much his chauffeur bodyguard, he starts to gain not admiration, but like a fondness, a better understanding of certain things. And I love that, especially all the scenes where he saw the mistreatment that Dr. Shirley was receiving, and he stood up for him. There were a lot of times I was like, yeah, Tony, punch him. But then I understood when Dr. Shirley would tell him, you can't do that. Like, this affects me more. Like, you got to stay calm. And I just really enjoyed that. But this movie is going to hold a high place in my heart, especially on my list. And I can't wait to watch it again because it was just so good. And I'm just very impressed with the story. But yeah, that's what I've been watching, and I would love to hear what you guys have been watching, especially if you guys have stayed this long. I hope that you guys, if you guys were to watch any 4 of these different things I've seen, I would love to hear if you love it, if you hate it, if you're like, it's all right. I would love to hear it down below in the comments. But make sure to like, subscribe, and follow FilmPod on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. Make sure to hit that bell as well. And just to give you guys a little sneak peek of what we got going on next podcast episode, I will be giving my review not just on Beef Season 2, but also Mortal Kombat 2 when I go see it in theaters. But until next time, make sure to turn that bell on, like, subscribe, and follow. Take it easy, stay safe, and peace, y'all.